Hey guys, my name is Hogan, and basically in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to create this amazing WordPress website using a drag and drop builder. So basically what that means for you is you'll be able to easily recreate the layouts of popular websites such as Apple, Tesla, Google, virtually any website that you see online without any code. So anyone can do it. This isn't a 10-minute tutorial because I wanted to show you everything step by step, and if I make a 10-minute tutorial, you're not gonna be able to create a good looking website that people are actually interested in, okay? And if you create a website like this, then people are just gonna click off your website and never gonna come back, and basically there's no point of having a website in the first place. Okay, so this is why it's 2 hours long. I'm gonna show you everything step by step, but within a few hours, you'll have your own website up and running. So I'll be going through things such as getting your website online, showing you where to get the best free images, showing you all the tools that I use to build a website. Most of them will be free. I'll also show you how to use the builder itself so you don't get overwhelmed with building the website yourself. I'll show you how to ensure that you design a really nice website even if you've never designed anything before in your life, and I think that is probably the most important part. I'm also going to show you some really cool stuff in a second. Okay, so this is perfect for people who are building their first website. This is perfect for people who have installed WordPress but you just don't know where to begin. It's also good for freelancers, small business owners, or even if you just want to make a website for fun, then this is just awesome. So basically I'm going to give you a website tour to show you guys what we're going to be building today. Alright, so basically in the website tutorial, I'll be showing you how to add in text and images and things like that, but I really wanted to make it special, so I'm going to show you how to create this typewriter effect. Not many websites have it, but it's going to really make you stand out from the competition. Scrolling down here, I'm going to show you how to add this featured section, as well as showing you how to add in beautiful gradients, which really make your website fresh and just modern, and it's just really cool. And again, I'll also show you some really cool stuff such as this particle effect. It adds a nice little touch. It's really easy to do, but I'll show you anyway. And next, I'll be showing you how to add in the blog section. The blog section is actually really important because you're able to create free content that people are actively searching for. So you'll be attracting like highly targeted traffic to your website, then you'll be able to sell whatever you want to sell to them. A lot of people are focusing on social media, Facebook ads and things like that. But in reality, if you're scrolling through Facebook, you want to look at your friends, wedding pictures or what they did on the weekend. You don't really want to click on an ad. But with blogging, people are actually looking for that information, so they're in the right mindset. So that's definitely a really important thing for your website. Now, the next thing I'll show you how to do is adding in this Dual Parallax effect. So as you can see, that's super cool. Not many websites have it, but it's really going to make you stand out, and you can tell an interesting story about your product and service with the Dual Parallax effect. Then I'll be showing you how to add in videos and galleries and all that stuff. Then I'll show you how to add in the footer section with your social media. And after that, I'll show you how to create a simple about page by importing the layouts. So I'm going to show you some really cool features of this builder. This is me, and basically I'll be showing you how to do all that. Alright, and if we click on the services, then I'm also going to show you how to import pre-created layouts and also pre-created rows. So this is going to really speed up the process of website building. But I didn't want to just make a import a layout thing, because most of the time when people import stuff, they don't know how to actually arrange it properly, and you're just going to end up procrastinating and never getting your website done. So I'll be showing you that as well, but after I show you how to actually use the important features. Then I'll show you how to add a blog page. I'll show you how to configure this widget section where you can display virtually anything that you want. And of course, I'll show you how to make a contact page, which includes a contact form so people can submit a message, and also a map. So some of you might be small businesses and you want to display where you're located and stuff like that. This website is also mobile responsive, so it fits on any device, on mobile, tablet, on computer, anything like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What I do want to point out is if you have any troubles, make sure to drop a comment down below. I try to reply to all of them. And if you have something more, personal, you can also send me an email at support@HOGANCHUA.com, and hopefully I can help you guys out. All right. Without much further ado, I'm going to start with an overview of what we actually need to get started. So I'm just going to start with an overview of what we need to create our website. So the first thing that you'll need is a domain name, and basically a domain name is your web address. So for example, Google's domain name is google.com. Your one will just be your name or your businessname.com. The second thing that you'll need is a hosting account. So basically hosting is where you're going to store your website files, such as the images and also the text or whatever file you want to store in it, so people can access it 24/7 all around the world. Now, the third thing that you'll need is to install WordPress. So WordPress is a content management system, and it's used by around 30% of the websites on the web. I use it for my website, and it basically allows you to create a website without needing to know how to code. And then we're going to install a theme. So basically a theme is the drag and drop builder, and also the theme will allow us to customize our website however we want. And the fourth thing is then we're going to create our website. So the domain name is going to cost around $15 every year. But I have a coupon code, which is going to only cost you $5.99 a year. And then for your hosting, that's normally around $10 a month, but with the coupon code, it will be around $8 or so. The WordPress is actually a free thing that you can actually download, and also the theme is free, but you do have the option to get support for a fee. And then the creation of the website is free as well. So to get started with a website, it's not going to cost you thousands or even a few $100s. It's only going to cost you $14, but it's going to obviously take you a few hours to create, but I really think it's worth it because you could be spending that on something else. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get the domain name and hosting at the same place. So open up your web browser and then type in HostGator, so HOSTGATOR.com, and then click on enter. So HostGator is where I get my domain names from, and also where I host my websites. So I've been with them for about 7 or 8 years now, and they've been really good. A really good thing about them is they have the live chat support, and they also have a 45-day money back guarantee if you have any problems, and they also have an uptime guarantee as well. So with a lot of free hosting companies, sometimes if you host your website there, it might not be up all the time because there's just too many free accounts, and then they don't allocate enough resources to your website. And if a lot of people go to your website, then it's going to crash your website, and you definitely don't want that for your business. So it's really important to get a good paid hosting for your websites. So what I want you to do is click on web hosting here. As you can see, there's a few different options, but for beginners, web hosting is what we need to get started with. So basically there's 3 different plans: the business plan, the baby plan, and also the hatchling plan. So the business plan is probably a bit too much for what you need at the moment, and it's a little bit more expensive. So the difference between the hatchling and the baby is that the baby has unlimited domains. So what that basically means is you're able to host your domain name, your mom's domain name, your friend's domain name, and maybe if you have a client, then you can have your client's domain name all hosted in one place, okay, for the same price. So with the hatchling plan, you're only able to host one domain. So for most people, you're going to pick the single domain because you're most likely going to just start with one website. And if you actually need to host unlimited domains, then you can upgrade later on. Or you might have some clients and you might go for the baby plan straight away. But I'm just going to click on the hatchling plan and then click on buy now. So if you have not got a domain name yet, then you'll need to enter a domain name here. If you already own a domain, then you need to click here. So basically you might have bought a domain from GoDaddy or Namecheap. Then you'll need to enter the domain name here and then follow along with the tutorial. But if you want a new domain name, then click here on the tab, and then you'll need to figure out what you want to name your website. Okay, so for example, we might go create your dream website and then click on the outside here. And basically that will see if that is available. If it's got a green tick, then that means it's available and you can select that. If it goes red, that means someone else has already registered that domain name and you might need to come up with a different variation of that domain name. So I normally go for the .com because that is just the most common and what people normally type in, but you might go for a .org or a .co. It really depends on you. So if you scroll down here, you've got the domain privacy protection, and basically what that means is if we untick that, then if you actually select that, then it will actually show up as hostgator.com or something like that. So it's going to hide your name, your address, your email address, and things like that. So if you're a brick and mortar business and you're displaying your email and your address and everything on your website anyway, then you probably don't need it. But if you want to keep anonymous, then I would recommend you select the domain privacy. I'm just going to keep it unchecked because this is just an example, but if you do want to get it, then I recommend you to get it now because you can't really add it on later on as that information will be released into the Whois database. Okay, so scroll down here, and if we look at the billing cycle, click on that, and basically you can choose month to month or you can choose a longer term. Normally with a longer term, you're going to get a bigger discount. So if you go for longer, you're going to save a lot more money, but it really depends on, your preferences and what you're comfortable with. So I'm just going to go month to month for this example. And here you just need to enter in a username and you just enter a security pin. If you scroll down here, you'll need to enter in your billing information. So make sure you got your right email here, and also you need to fill out this section here with your credit card details or PayPal if you're paying by your PayPal. And scroll down here once you've filled that in. Now we've got the additional services. So you want to uncheck these because you can add these later on. And if you actually want to back up your website, I actually have a free tutorial on showing you how to back it up for free. And you can also create a professional email address using your domain name in the cPanel itself. So I'll make a video on that as well. And if you scroll down here, then you'll need to enter in a coupon code. So you can enter in bonus code and then click on validate. And that will basically give you a bigger discount. So that is my coupon code. And if you use that, then I'm going to get a small commission, which helps me create these free tutorials for you guys. So if we scroll down here and we just check if everything's correct. So we've got our domain name, we've got the hatchling plan for 1 month to month, and the total is about $13.66. So if you have got the domain privacy, sometimes it might actually, if you scroll back up, sometimes you might actually add this back on, but it's not, so it's all right. So scroll down here, and then what you need to do is just click on I've read and agreed to the terms and service, and then you'll need to click on the checkout now. So that is gonna check out, and then you'll either need to pay by PayPal or you get a congratulation page. I've already got an account with HostGator, so I don't want to really create another one. Now what we need to do is go to our email, and this is where we actually log into the cPanel to install WordPress. So HostGator is going to send you an email with your account information, which basically looks something like this. So what you'll need to do is click on the control panel URL, and basically you'll need to copy over your username and copy over your password so you can actually log into your control panel. So once you've done that, click on login. Okay, so to actually install WordPress, you can click on build a new WordPress website, or you can scroll down to the software section and click on quick install. So sometimes the layout of this section might change, but try to look for quick install and then you should be okay. So we're going to click on build a new WordPress website, and that is just going to take us to this section here where we can install WordPress on our website. So click on the domain, so select a domain. Normally for most of you guys we'll just have one, so I'm going to select this one here, leave this part empty, click on next. So for the blog title, it might be a business name or your name. So for example, I might just type in logo. We can change that anytime. For the admin user, so this will be your login username, first name, last name, and also a valid email address. Okay, once that is done, make sure that email is right. Click on here, so accept the terms of service, and then click on install. So WordPress is going to install onto your new domain. Okay, so that's taken a few seconds and it should say installation is complete. So once that is complete, then you'll have the installation details here. So what I generally like to do first before I do anything is copy the password to my clipboard first. Alright, so once you have done that, then you know your username is HOGANCHUA. I mean, you know whatever username that you've put in, and then you can click on login. So once you have clicked on login, then this will take you to the WordPress login page. So sometimes if you've just bought your domain and hosting, it might not have propagated yet, and basically what that means is HostGator hasn't set that up on the back end yet, and sometimes it may take 15 or 20 minutes. Worst case scenario, probably a few hours. If it still hasn't started working yet, then you can contact the HostGator live chat support. Alright, so put in your username and then paste in the password that you have just copied, and then you can click on login. Alright, so before I even talk about the dashboard area, what I want you to do is make sure to bookmark this page. So this is your login URL. So for example, if you copy that URL and let's open a new window, and if you actually paste in that URL, then that's going to take you to the login page before. Okay, so here all you need to type in is wp-admin, and that will take you to this page. Alright, so do that first. Alright, so this is the WordPress dashboard. It's got a lot of stuff, but we can pretty much clear a lot of the things. So let's just clear that for now and close that. Dismiss this part. I'm going to show you how to set up your WordPress. So we're going to close all these, just like that. Alright, so it looks a little bit less overwhelming now. So what we're going to do first is we're going to change our password. So if you hover over users here, you can click on all users. Now basically this section here, you can actually add in a new user. So for example, if you have a writer or something for your blog, then you can create a new user for them and they can log in and they can add in blog post or edit the page and things like that. So this is your user and we're going to click on edit and we're going to change the password. So scroll down to the very bottom to account management, new password, click on generate password, and I'm going to click on hide, and then I'm going to set in a new password. Okay, so confirm use of the weak password. Hopefully you can come up with something stronger. Alright, and then click on update profile. I'm just going to close that and I'm going to update that. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to change the permalink structure. So if you hover over settings, click on permalinks. Alright, so what this basically means is we want to change this to post name. Okay, so whenever you're adding in a blog post or you're adding a new page, it will come with a title. So you want that title to actually show up on the URL. Okay, so you don't want something like equals p equals 123. People don't know what that page is talking about, and it's just not good for search engines and your Google rankings. Okay, so you want to make sure to change that to post name and then click on save changes. After that, then you can click on plugins. So plugins are basically like applications that enhance the functionality of your WordPress website. So on your mobile phone, you've got apps such as social media, dating apps, gaming apps, productivity, and everything like that. Plugins are basically the same thing, but for your WordPress website. So it comes pre-installed with some stuff, all right? So what I like to do is just to deactivate everything, to get everyone on the same page. All right, so we don't really need all of these. So what I'm going to do actually is just select it again and then delete it. Click on apply and OK. Okay, once that is done, what we're going to do next is install the theme and install the required plugins for the tutorial. Okay, so to install the theme, what we'll need to do is hover over appearance and then click on themes. So this is the default theme which is currently installed onto WordPress. So if you actually hover over the icon here, the house icon, and then right click to visit the website. Then you should see your website looks something like this. So this is a default WordPress theme. It doesn't really have much customizability, so you can't really customize it and don't have that drag and drop builder. So what we're going to do is go back to our website here and then click on add new. So there are a bunch of free themes here, but the theme that I use and theme that I highly recommend is the Ultra theme by Themify, because it's got the drag and drop builder and you can pretty much create any website that you want. So we're going to click on upload theme. Okay, so once you have done that, then we're going to need to download the theme. So if you look below this video, in the description, you might need to click on show more. You need to download the theme. So click on that and download that to your computer. And then you'll need to download the images and also the plugins as well onto the computer, so you can follow along with the tutorial. So after when you've done that, then you should get two files basically. So one of them is called Themify ultra.zip, and the other one will be images and plugins. So sometimes Safari might actually automatically unzip it. So it might look like a folder like this, okay? So you don't want this to be in a folder. What you want to do is right click and compress that back into the .zip file, okay? Because we want to upload the .zip. Now for the images and plugins, we actually want to unzip it. So if you're using Mac, then you can just double click it. On Windows, I'm not sure, you might need to download some software for that to unzip. I'm not 100% sure. All right, so if you click into the folder, then we've got all the images in there, and we've also got the required plugin to follow along with the tutorial. So if we go back to our website now, and we need to actually click on choose file, and then we need to select Themify ultra.zip. So make sure it's a .zip, click on open, install now. Okay, so it's got the progress bar on the bottom left. So if you actually go to HOGANCHUA.com, so this is my website, and I've also got a FAQ there. So if you have any questions, sometimes I might have put the answer onto my FAQ page. So if you click on the FAQ section, then these are the frequently asked questions. Now, basically, if you go to theme installation, okay, so if you have any troubles, you might need to refer to here. So for example, if we click on here, sometimes it might say the file size has exceeded. For example, the theme might be too big because your host has actually limited the amount that you can actually upload onto your WordPress website. You either need to actually contact your host to increase the upload limit, or you can go to my FAQ page and click on the upload file exceeds, and basically follow this video to upload the theme via your cPanel section. All right, so for most of you guys, it should be all good and ready to go. Then you need to click on the activate, and that will activate the new theme. Okay, it's going to pop up with skins and demos. We don't want any of that, so we're going to click on the X icon here. And basically, if we actually refresh our website, then you should see the appearance has changed. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our dashboard area, and we're going to install the plugins. So click on plugins, and then click on add new, and then click on upload plugin, choose file, and then we need to click on the images and plugins folder. So we're going to look for the builder typewriter.zip. Okay, so look for that file, click on open, and then click on install now, and then activate that plugin. Now the next plugin that we're going to install is the contact form plugin. We're going to click on add new, and then we're going to search for plugins. So we're going to type in contact form 7, and then that should load up within a few seconds. And we want to install the contact form 7 by Takayuki, and then install now, and then click on activate. Okay, so basically if you want to add, different plugins, for example, you might want to add, some booking plugins for your website to accept appointments and stuff like that. You can try and search up, for example, booking, And then there are a range of free and paid plugins here. Most of them are freemium, so basically it'll be free, but if you want some more pro features, then you have to pay. Or you can actually go to Google and then you can type in best booking plugins for WordPress, and normally they'll have like a website where it ranks them, and then you can check out, you know, which one suits you and whatnot. All right, so that is pretty much it. Now what we're gonna do is add in your pages. So we're gonna hover over pages, and then we're gonna click on all pages. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna delete the sample page. So we're gonna trash that. And then we're also going to go to the trash can here and then delete that permanently. Okay, so to add a new page, all we need to do is to click on add new. The first page that we're going to be adding is the home page. So we just enter in a title here called home and then click on publish. I'm just going to click on that again. Make sure that it says that it has been published here, and then click on add new again. The next page we're going to add is about, and then I'm going to click on publish. Do it again. Make sure it says that it has been published, otherwise it won't publish properly. Okay, so we're going to add in the services, blog, and contact form really quickly. So we're going to do services. You can add pretty much any page or however many pages that you need later on. Add new again. Blog page, publish, and then click on add new, and we're going to add in a contact page. Okay, so to check all your pages are added in properly, click on all pages again on the side, and you should have home, about, blog, contact, and services. Alright, so let's view our website now. And you should see the pages listed up here. What we're going to do is sort of arrange the menu. So what we need to do is click on customize, and you'll be directed to Themify options. So we want to click on the back icon here. The first thing that we want to do is click on the homepage settings, and then you want to select a static page. So as you can see, the pages have disappeared. It's gone into the mobile menu mode. So what you can actually do is, if you're on Mac, then click on Command and then minus, and that will basically zoom out of your screen. If you're on Windows, then you can click on the Windows key and then click on minus, and that will zoom out, and plus to zoom in again. So what we want to do is we want to make sure the home page here is set to the actual just the domain URL. So for the home page, select home, and then we want to click on publish. Okay, so what that basically means is, let's just close that for now. Now if we actually click on the home page, then what that does is that will actually make that home page set to the actual just default domain name itself. Okay, so if you click on about, then that will have about there, but if you click on home, then it doesn't have that extra extension there. Okay, so what we're going to do is arrange the menu properly. So let's click back to customize, click on back here, click on menus, and then we're going to create a new menu. So click on that. The menu name we're going to set in top nav for top navigation. For the menu location, you want to set main navigation, which is the top up here. If you select footer navigation, it will be on the bottom. Click on next. Alright, so we've set that in. Now we want to add in the pages. So click on add items. We want to add in the about page, services, blog, and contacts. So we're not going to add in the home page. The reason for that is because in most cases, when people click on the logo, it will automatically direct them to the home page anyway, so it's not really required. Alright, so to rearrange them, all you really need to do is to click on it and then drag it and sort of, you know, put it below whatever, and it will rearrange, as you can see there. Okay, so if you want to actually create a drop down menu, what that means is if I actually drag the services, sort of put it under the abouts, which is I think called indenting, like that, then when you actually hover over the about page, then it'll drop down your services. All right, so you can also do that for the blog as well. So for example, you can put it under services again, and then what will happen is if you hover over about, hover on services, and then blog will pop up. So let's just put that back and then click on publish. And then we're gonna close the customize. And the next part, I'm gonna show you the Themify settings, rearranging the default layouts of the pages and adding in your social media for the bottom section here. All right, let's go back to our dashboard. And then we want to edit the Themify settings. So scroll down on the left here, click on Themify settings. So this is basically where you edit all your theme settings. If we click on the general tab, this is the fab icon, and basically what the fab icon is the logo for your tabs. All right, so to upload a fab icon, what you want to do is click on upload. And basically you can upload the fab icon, which is in the images folder, which you should have downloaded earlier before. And the size of the fab icon is 32 by 32 pixels, and it should be a PNG file, which basically means it's transparent file. So click on open, and that will basically upload here. So if you want to get a fab icon or a logo as well, then what I recommend you to go to is fiverr.com. So this is sort of like a freelancing website where you can get logos and graphics and all sorts of things starting from $5. So for example, if you click on, type in logo design and then click on search, scroll down, and there are hundreds of people who design logos. A lot of them are starting from $5. Some of them are a little bit more expensive. So let's click into one of those ones, and you'll need to just log in with your Google or Facebook account, or you need to sign up. All right, so I'll leave the link down in the description. You can get a logo, and then you can also ask for a fab icon. The fab icon is probably the same as your logo, but without the text. If we scroll down here to the very bottom to Google Fonts, you want to click on show all Google fonts. So that basically shows more fonts you can choose from. Click on save. And then you want to click on the default layouts tab. And what you want to do is we want to actually open our website up in another window. So hover over the house icon and then right click and open in a new tab. I'm just going to close the Fiverr one. And this is our website now, okay? So if we scroll down here, this is a page. Now, if you click on here, you'll need to scroll down to the very bottom to the default page layout section here. So for the page sidebar option, we want to select no sidebar. So for example, this is the sidebar. We want to select no sidebar, all right? And you want to also hide the title on all the pages. So select yes. And you also want to disable all the comments and then click on save. So once that is saved, then you can refresh that page and you should see the title and also the sidebar disappear. So basically you got a blank canvas to actually design your website on, right? So let's go back here and then click on theme settings. So scroll back to the top section, scroll down to theme appearance. So here we can change the header design and the footer design and things like that. So for the header design, currently it's this default one here. It's quite large, the area. You don't want this huge area here. You want to make it sort of like a thin and minimal header, because then people don't have to scroll down to your actual content of your website. So click back here. And the one that I like is the header top bar. You might go for the header horizontal. It's pretty similar. This one is just a thinner design. So I'm going to select that one. And then I'm going to scroll down here. And what I want to do is I want to remove this icon here. This is the RSS and also the search icon. You might want to keep that. And I also want to remove the site tagline. So go back here. And I'm going to exclude the site tagline, exclude search, exclude RSS. Scroll down to the footer design. So here is your footer section. You can also choose how you want your footer to look. So I want to remove the site logo in the footer, and that is pretty much it. So I'm going to leave everything else as default. And then what we're going to do is scroll down to here. And then I want to hide powered by WordPress and Themify themes and things like that. So that one is the footer text too. So I want to click on hide that, and then I'm going to click on save. All right, if we refresh the page, then you should see the header design will change to the simple one, and also the powered by WordPress and Themify themes will be gone. So that is looking great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add in the social links. So we're going to click on the social links here. I'm just going to quickly open up all my social URLs. Okay, so what we need to do is paste in our Twitter links. So what we need to do is click on here and just copy our URL and then just paste it into here. Same with the Facebook page. So make sure you follow my page. That's where I post updates. So go back here, paste that into there. That's my URL. And scroll down. So for example, if you don't have Google+, you can leave that empty and it won't show up. So for YouTube, you want to paste in your YouTube channel URL, copy that, and then paste that into here. Pinterest, I don't have Pinterest, but let's, for example, you have Instagram, and as you can see, it's nowhere to be seen. Click on add link. Type in a title, so for example, Instagram. For your link, we're going to go and copy the Instagram profile URL and then paste it into here. Make sure you select an icon, so insert icon, and then we're going to search for the Instagram icon, so type in Insta, okay, and then click on Instagram. All right, and then click on save. So that has basically saved in all your links, but we want it to display in the footer section. So to do that, we need to actually go to hover over appearance and then click on widgets. So widgets are basically sort of different sections on your website, and you can add all these widgets into all these different sections where you can put it in. All right, so for example, what we're going to do is we're going to look for the Themify social links widget here. Okay, so click on it and drag it up like that, and we're going to put it into the footer social widget area. All right, so because these are external links, they're linking to an external link, for example, twitter.com. What I normally do is I open link in a new window, and for the icon size, I'm going to keep it medium and then save. So if we refresh our page, then those social links are going to show up in the footer social widget section, which is down here. Okay, so if you want to put it into, for example, the header area, then you might need to click on it and drag it into the social widget section here. Okay, I don't really recommend that because I think that, when people are on your website, you're supposed to, sell whatever you want to sell, or, collect the emails rather than direct them to your social profiles. So what we're going to do next is we're going to be styling our navigation menu and also the footer area, adding in the logos and things like that. Alright, it's Hogan here, and before I actually show you how to build the website, I want to give you some design tips that you can actually use to ensure a professional finish of your website and to make sure that it looks really good. So in my previous tutorials, maybe 2-3 years ago, I didn't really go through this with you guys, and I think the result that people got wasn't very good. So like building a website is one thing, but designing is another thing. So think of a website sort of like a house. You don't really design the house and build it at the same time. You sort of have the architect to design it first, and then you pass it to the developer who actually builds that house. So I know that I have the design ready for you guys and you can follow exactly step by step, but you'll probably be changing the colors and the layouts, the fonts and everything to sort of suit your business. So like with these tips, you can actually use them and you'll make better decisions quicker, so you won't like procrastinate. Sometimes you might be like, oh, I don't know which color to choose, which font to use, and then you choose a random one and it sort of ends up a mess. So I'm not really a professional, so if you're a professional, then you might be able to skip this video or skip this section. but I think it's really good for beginners. So there's no right and wrong, by the way, okay? So you can tweak it however you like. These are just 10 tips which I think will really help. So the first thing is to just choose one main color. So you don't need to use too many colors. Like you can just use neutral colors or shades for your website, just like Apple does, and have really good images, and you can have a really good website. Okay, but what you can do is you can go to a color meanings website and pick a color that really represents your business. So for example, I'm choosing the dark gray, or you could say almost black, because I'm not building a specific business. Like for example, a law firm might go with like navy blue or dark blue. But since I'm building like a demo website, which is not specific, I want to appear simple, clean, and modern. That's why I went with the like neutral shade kind of look like Apple. So I think you can go to a website called flatuicolors.com and choose a color. I'll put the link up in the screen. So the second tip is to choose an accent color. So the accent color is the color that you can use to bring attention to certain areas. For example, buttons, call to action areas, and anywhere that you want to direct people's eye or attention. Okay, so I picked one for that one as well. The one that I picked was the pink or fuchsia color, because I think it really gives like a fresh vibe and it really stands out. Tip number 3 is to use a lot of neutral colors or shades on your website. So if you don't know which color or which main color, or should I use this accent color here or there, just stick with like a light gray or a dark gray. Like for example, for your icons, for example, if you want to separate different sections, you can use like a light gray background to separate like different sections on your website, and it'll look really good. So a really good example to check out is Zero.com. They have a really nicely laid out homepage that you can actually take, a lot of inspiration from. Tip number 4 is to use shades of the main color or the accent color for your website. So for example, if you're like using a button and that button is a pink color, you don't want that pink color once you hover over it to change to a completely different color. You can use shades of that main color to give that nice hover effect, and it will keep things really consistent. And also sort of like sometimes you need to separate different elements of your website. You can't use blue and then maybe the exact same blue again. If you choose maybe a lighter shade of that blue or a darker shade, it'll still match really well and keep everything consistent. It's sort of like if you're wearing maybe like white t-shirt and blue jeans with the belt, you might go with like a navy blue and it'll still look really nice. Tip number 5 is to use neutral colors for your header and footer sections. The reason why I recommend that is because probably most people don't have professional images done. And if you choose like a colored header, for example, like a blue, you need to match it really well with the image below that. And if you're finding images online, it's going to take longer to find images which are suitable and matches really well. Like a lot of websites actually use like a light background header or a dark background header. And for the footer section, they use like a light gray. They keep it nice and subtle and everything matches really well, and it's just really easy to match. So think of it as wearing like a white t-shirt. You can wear any colored jeans with it and it'll still look really nice. Tip number 6 is to just use one font. So you don't need many fonts for your website to look nice. For example, Apple just uses one. And you can also use a Chrome extension called What Font to actually inspect what fonts people are actually using for their websites. So there's basically 2 different typefaces. One is called the serif typeface. The other one is called the sans serif typeface. The difference is the serif typeface, as you can see with the characters, they have like edges on the ends of the characters, and also the strokes are thick and thin. With the sans serif typeface, the edges are plain and also the strokes are even width. So the sans serif typeface appears a lot more simpler and modern, and most websites use it. The serif typeface, it appears more elegant and it gives a more traditional and handcrafted feel to it. So it depends on what business you're in, but most websites use the sans serif typeface. For example, Google, Tesla, Uber, and even on your phone and also on like your computer, the typeface they use is sans serif. So what I recommend is probably use the sans serif, and I'll put up the most recommended Google fonts that you can actually start off using and just choose one of them. Tip number 7 is to take direct inspiration from other websites that you really like. So you can open up a few tabs that you really like and copy the layout exactly. You can just change the images, change the text, and then tweak it to what you like later. because that ensures like a really good layout. A lot of people just sort of like, build it as they go and doesn't look very good. Tip number 8 is to use the body font size between 16 to 18 pixels. It depends on the font, the type of font, so you might need it adjusted slightly, but don't have it too big or too small, and I think that size is perfect. But with your headlines and subheadlines, they can be any size, but sort of have like a hierarchy between them. Like the headline should be bigger, the subheadline should be a little bit smaller, and then you have your body text. Okay, your body text most likely wouldn't be bold either. If it's like bold for a huge paragraph, then it's going to look kind of weird. So you can bold certain areas, of course, to highlight certain things, but make sure to just keep it really consistent. Tip number 9 is the line length. So for example, you don't want like paragraphs going from one side of the screen to the other side, because people are going to be reading from this side to that side and it's going to be harder to read. So to break it down to somewhere in between there, the website is sort of like in landscape mode. You want to keep it between 45 to about 90 characters in width, and that provides a really good reading experience. Tip number 10 is to make sure you separate your content. So you can separate content with just white space, and that makes things really appear simple. You can also use divider lines. You can also use background colors like neutral colors, and you can also use images and icons to separate different sections of your website. You sort of want to keep everything like bite-sized chunks so people can easily just scan through your website and read it. You don't want to have huge blocks of text that just go down and across, okay? You want to break things up and to make it easily readable. And the last tip, which is tip number 11, we're going over, but you can use gradients. So use gradients to put on top of images to make the text pop out more, because you want to make sure everything is readable. And you can also use gradients if you might find an image that you really like. You can put a gradient color on top of it to keep your color scheme in sync, to make sure everything on your website is nice and consistent with that color scheme. You can drop a gradient color on top of it, okay? So that is pretty much it for the tips. I'm going to jump back into the screen and continue building the website. But you can also download the PDF cheat sheet, which you can print out as well. Alright, so we're going to customize the header section, which is up here, and the footer section. To do that, you can click on the customize, and that will automatically take you to Themify options. If you click on back, then this is where it takes you. So click on Themify options and click on advanced options. So it's going to give you more options so you can edit all sorts of areas on your website. All right, so once that is loaded up, then for example, this is your header section, footer. So what we're going to do is click on header, and the background here, we're going to change that. So we're going to click on the header wrap. And as I said before, I recommend sticking to neutral colors for your header and footer sections because it's easier to match with any image, especially if you're not taking your own images, because it's going to take a while to find images that match if you actually put in maybe if your main color was blue. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to set in the color code, and it's going to be 6 2s, okay, so like a dark gray. You can also choose white, which is basically 6 Fs, and I'll put the hex code up so you can follow along if you actually want to choose a light header. And yeah, okay, so once that is done, then you need to scroll down here, and here you can actually edit the header font colors and header link colors here. So every link up here is a header link, but this is the logo, and here is actually also the main navigation links as well. So we're not going to edit this section here right now, so we're going to minimize that. Then the next section that we're going to edit is the logo. So click on site logo and tagline, site logo. So here you can set in the logo title, and you can also set in the size as well as the font. So I'm going to set in Roboto. So that is my main font that I'm going to be using for this entire tutorial on this demo website. So if you set in Roboto, as you can see it changes, then you can set in the font weight to be bold. All right, and we're going to set in the color to be white, just like that. All right, so if you don't have a logo, then just put in the site title and choose a nice font which is easily readable. If you do have a logo image, you can click on logo image, and for example, go to Fiverr, which is fiverr.com, and then just search up logo design. you can have a look here, browse through, and you can basically filter it. I think some are $5, some are a little bit expensive, as you can see, but if you click onto that, then get a logo done. You don't have to design your own because this is going to take a long time, and basically I'll have the link down below as well. So if you do have a logo, click on the plus icon and click on upload files, select files, and I have also included the logo that you can actually upload as a demo in the images and plugins folder, which you should have downloaded earlier. So this is the one that you have here, and as you can see, it's a PNG file, so that means it's transparent. So it's 250 pixels in width, so across, and 64 in height. You can basically use sort of any size similar to that because you can actually scale it down using the customizer. So I'm going to click on open and then insert the image, and that will, as you can see, it pops up like that. I'm only going to edit the height, so I'm going to change the height to 32, and it will basically resize it proportionally. So leave this one blank, just change that to 32, and that fits in really well. Next, click on site logo position. So as you can see, there's a little bit more space up here, so we're going to move it up a little bit. So click on relative, and then you can click on maybe 4 pixels on the bottom, and as you can see, it moves it up just like that. Click on publish to save, and then we can actually just close that section, and let's edit this section here. So this section is the main navigation. So these are all links, so click on menu link, and we're going to set the color to white. If your background is white, then you'll need to set it to 222 62s, which I'll put up, and then scroll down, menu link hover. As you can see, it's red right now. What we want to change it to is a little bit of light gray, so it gives a nice subtle effect. So for example, when you hover over Apple's links, it gives a nice gray subtle effect, so you know that it's a link. We're going to go back here, and what I like to do generally is I like to go to a website called 0to255.com and then click on enter a color. Now the color that I've set in for the link is FFFF. I think that's a little bit too much. Okay, click on enter color, and then I like to choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shades darker. Go back here, and then make sure to not put it into the background color because that sets the background. You want to set it into color. Paste that in there. So let's say when you're hovering over that, it gives it like a really subtle gray effect, so people know it's a link. All right, and the menu active link, what that basically means is if you actually click on the about page, the active link color is red right now. So what I want to change it to is a sort of a darker gray. So menu active link, let's go back to 0 to 255. I'm not going to set it to this color code here because it's a little bit too light, you can't really tell. So I'm going to go maybe 5 shades darker. Click on that, and then put it into there. Okay, 6 A's, and then that is the active link color. Alright, so when we hover over the active link hover color, that's going to be, I'm going to set that to white, just like that. Alright, and if you actually have a drop down menu, then you can set in the drop down container color, the links and the hover right here. Alright, so click on publish. Now what we're going to do is set in the mobile menu. So click on the styling mobile icon down here, and click on, let's minus that for a second, close all that. Okay, so click on mobile menu. So this is the menu icon, I believe, and we're going to change the color to white. Alright, so it's more visible. Then what I want to change is maybe the mobile menu link, maybe to a 222, something like that. And for the mobile menu link hover, I'm pretty sure you can't really hover over on mobile, but I might set that in anyway. So I'm going to set that to be maybe, we're going to put it in here, enter a color, just like that. And then we're going to go 5 shades lighter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and copy that to clipboard. paste that into here. So let's say when they hover over that, then it gives us a nice subtle effect. Okay, so that is pretty much done. Now we're going to close that and we're going to edit the footer section. Alright, so click on footer here and then click on footer wrap. What we're going to do is change it to a light gray, just like Apple's footer, which looks really nice. If you look at Upwork's footer, it's also a neutral color. If we go back here, then I'm going to change it to F6, F6, F6. As you can see, it doesn't change, but this is basically the color that you've changed it to. Alright, so don't worry, just change it to that for now. And then we can change the footer font color. So anything here which is not a link, that is the color that we're going to change. So click on footer font. We're going to change that to 222, just like that, and minimize that one. And then go to the footer link. So this is the footer link. Same with the social icons, they're all links. So we're also going to change that to the dark gray as well. And also we're going to change the hover over color. So the footer link hover. And we're going to change that to maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shades. Paste that into there. And let's say when you hover over that, it's like a really subtle gray effect as well. Alright, so I think that is pretty much it. We're going to do publish now. Now, before we actually go anywhere, we're going to actually click on the body. Okay, so this changes the body font, but it actually also changes the font for the header sections and the footer sections. So we're going to click on body fonts. So the font that I'm going to be using is Roboto. So it's a sans serif typeface, which is a nice, modern, clean typeface, as you can see. So what we can do now is click on the desktop, and as you can see, it's changed that and it looks really nice, but a little bit too thin. So we're going to change the font weight to normal, and I think that looks pretty good to me. And you're going to basically set in whatever font that you have chosen. Basically just choose one font. That's what I recommend if you're a beginner. And you can also use the what font Google Chrome extension to check out what fonts, for example, Apple is actually using. So this is the what font thing. And then you can browse over it and see what font they're actually using. If you want something similar, then what you can do is go to Google and type in similar Google fonts to SF Pro display, and then Google will tell you, and then you can try and choose one from here. But generally, Roboto, Lato, Open Sans, those fonts are really good for you to start off using. So publish and close. I think we're ready to start building the homepage. So we're going to be building out the homepage. This is the longest section, but also the most important part of the tutorial. We're going to be working with images and text and showing you how to design a professional looking website while learning the important features of the builder. So the first thing we need to do is get an image. So if you don't have images which are done by a professional, which I highly recommend, because that way all the images look the same. Like for example, the lighting and the tone of the website looks the same, and you can also get more unique images, images that you don't find on the web. But the next best option is Unsplash. Basically, you've got thousands of images which are really high quality and pretty nice as well, and you can use it for personal and commercial purposes without needing to credit people. So the next thing that you need to do once you're here is look for a really good image that you can actually put text over. So for example, if you go to Apple, they've got the main subject here and text up here. It's really clear. Upwork's website, they got the person here, and then they got text on the left. Google Drive, text in the middle, and everything else around it. So when you're looking for an image, this one will be a really nice one because you can put text on the left hand side. If you scroll down, I'll show you something that's not as good. I don't think this one is as good because if you put text over it, there's a little bit too much detail in that image there. Unless you put like a really dark gradient over it, which covers most of that image, and then the text will pop out, but I think it will ruin the image sort of. Scrolling down here, something like this is pretty nice because you can put text on the left. Something like this is really nice. And then basically once you've found a nice one, for example, let's go down a little bit further. Alright, so for example, let's say you pick this image here, then all you need to do is click here to download, and you can save that onto your computer. It's really high quality, so I'm going to show you how to crop it next. Alright, so I've already put that image that I'm going to crop into the images folder, which you should have downloaded. So now what you need to do is go to fotor.com. So this is a free image editing software that you can use online, so you don't need Photoshop or anything like that. So what you need to do is click on edit. I'm going to close that and click on open up here, open from your computer. Now in that folder you'll see hero image to crop, so select that, click on open, and that will load up here. So we're going to skip all the tutorials because I'll show you how to do it. Alright, so we've got the image here. It's quite large. If we put a really large image onto your website, it's going to take a long time to load. And sometimes you might not know, but you might have a really small image as well, and that will make things like really low quality, blurry, and it'll just look really ugly and ruin your website. So what we're going to do now is click on resize, and I want to set the size here. But before we do, make sure to actually click on that lock icon so it's locked up like that. So when you've changed the number here, 1800, then it automatically changes the height to 1200. Alright, and then click on apply. Once you've clicked on apply, it should change down here. Scroll back up, click on crop, and then set in 1800 here again, and then set in 1000, alright, for the height. So you can select where you want to put it. So I want to put it somewhere there. I'm basically going to put the text in the middle like that, and then I'm going to just click on apply. So what I noticed is actually before you save, you sort of want to drag that to the edge of the image to ensure that when you save, this is 1800 and this is 1000, and then click on save, and then you can save it as normal or you can save it as high, but you'll need to log into your Facebook account if you want to save it as high. So once you've done that, you can click on download and save it as hero image into the folder. Alright, and then click on save. So what I'm going to do is close that first. What I like to do is refresh the page. Alright, and then click on turn on builder. So we're going to hover over here and we're going to click on the row options. So click on that little pencil icon. And for the row width, you want everything to go from this side to that side. So you can actually set full width row container, and that should move across there. If you set the full width content, this is the contents sort of line here, and it will move all the way across. So I might set that in, all right? And then go to styling, and then click on background, and you can set in an image, gradient, video, or a slider. For a video, what I recommend is actually putting in a YouTube video. So upload your video to YouTube first. So when it actually loads on someone's website, it loads from YouTube servers rather than your own hosting account. YouTube servers is much faster. All right, so click on image here, and then click on browse library. Don't click on the upload, all right? If you click on the upload, then what happens is WordPress will actually crop that image and it will be low quality. So browse library, upload files, select the hero image, click on open, insert file, background mode, either select full cover or zoom scrolling. Parallax scrolling isn't as responsive on mobile devices, so I only use it on maybe not for the hero image, but rather for images which are below that. So I'm going to select zoom scrolling for this, which is also a really nice effect. And then what I want to do is you can actually drag this thing around, and if you actually drag it and then you drag it to the right hand side, okay, you'll see this purple thing come up, and then just let it go, and that will pop up onto the right hand side like that. Okay, you can also put it back like that, but I'm going to put it back here. Alright, so what we're going to do is click on padding. I want to add some spacing to stretch that image. So we're going to deselect apply to all. We're going to set in 17.5% to to the top, and do the same for the bottom, 17.5 to the bottom, just like that. Alright, so we're going to be putting some text in there, so don't worry, it's going to stretch out further. So once we've done that, then we can click on done. Alright, so what we're going to do is remove this white spacing here. To do that, we can actually click on save first, click on edit in the backend, and that will take you to the backend section. And scroll down to Themify custom panel, click on page options, and for the content width, select full width. So it goes all the way across. And then once you've done that, click on update. Wait for that to update. Okay, and then click on view page or this link here. And that should remove it. Alright, so we're going to turn on the builder again. Then we're going to hover over here. So these are all the different modules that you can drag and move in. And you can actually click on the lock icon, so that keeps this thing actually there. Otherwise it's going to retract back. Put that back. And let's drag a text module into there. So let's add some content. So I'm going to type in coming soon. So type in content which is relevant to your image and also to your business. Don't just randomly type in anything. Alright, so we're going to set in heading 1 here. And as you can see, that changes. You can also click on the toggle toolbar for more options. And then what I want to do is I want to go to the styling tab. And here you can actually change the colors and stuff. So click on font. I want to change that to white so it's visible. Okay, just click on that. Alright, so make sure it stays there. And then for the text align, you want to align everything to the middle, just like that. And then what I want to do is I want to remove some of that spacing here below that text. Alright, so we're going to go to margin, deselect margin, apply to all, sorry. And we're going to minus 3%, just like that. So it minuses some of that space below the text module. Alright, so when we put it in the text after, then it's not going to be so far apart. So we're going to click on done. Now, once you have done that, then we're going to drop in a typewriter module. So make sure to have installed that plugin, which I have showed you earlier. Drop that into there. So for the before text, we're going to type in create a. And then for the after text, I'm going to set in website. For the typewriter text here, I'm going to set in visually stunning. Alright, so we're going to click on styling here, and for the fonts, I'm going to change the font to white. Make sure to click that so it stays there. Alright, so when you've done that, then you can go to typewriter and click on the background. So this is what it actually highlights as, and I want to change the background color to the fuchsia color, which is my accent color that I've selected. So you can select, whichever accent color that you've put in, or you can just follow along. So the color code is FC72F0, something like that, and I think that looks pretty good. And then for the font color, I think we can just set that to white as well. And then we're going to click on done. Okay, so if you notice, I haven't set it to the middle yet because I want to show you something. What we're going to do next is we're going to add in a button first. Alright, so drag in the button module. So you can change the different sizes, like a small button, large button. I'm just going to go normal, and I'm going to go squared, maybe something like that. And then for the button text, so I'm going to change it to begin now. Okay, so for the link here, what that basically means is when people click on that, it will link to whichever URL is set in here. So for example, if I copy over this URL, let's open a new tab and paste that in. And I want to link that to my services page. So I click on services, I copy the URL, and then I just paste that in here. So anytime someone clicks on it, it will link to my services page. So normally I keep that in the same window because it is on the same domain. If it's to like an external link, for example, I'm linking to Apple's website, then I probably open it in a new tab. All right, so keep the color same. You can also insert an icon, but I don't think that is necessary. Let's go to styling and let's go to the button link. So we're going to set in the button background color and the link color. So the background color, I'm going to set in as just white. Okay, so as a neutral color. Most of the time, it's really nice to just use a black or a white background button. It's just really easy and easy to match. But sometimes you can use your accent color as well, depending on the background itself here. So for the background hover, we want to give a nice little effect when you actually hover over the button. So for example, if you go to Google Drive, if you actually hover over the button here, it goes darker. Okay, here it goes darker, and a lot of websites either go darker or lighter. For this example, we're going to go darker. All right, so for the background hover, what we're going to do is go to 0 to 255. So 0 to 255. And then enter in a color. We're going to set in the white color. It's going to be 6F. Sometimes if it's the same, then you can just type in 3. Click on enter color. So we're going to select maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try that and go back here. Paste that in there. It might be a little bit too dark for the link. So for example, we're going to set in 2222, which is the dark gray. And the link hover, I'm just going to keep it as the same. Okay. And then we're going to go to border. So I don't want any border. I'm going to select none. As you can see, it shrinks. Done. Save it. And what we're going to do is move everything into the middle. So we're going to click on options here. Click on styling. Click on font. And you can text align it to the middle. So what that does is everything within this row, it's going to move it into the middle. So click on done. So for example, if you move this thing down here, because it's not in that row, then it's going to just stay the default position. But if you actually click on the undo, when it's in here, then it'll go into the middle. All right, so this is really cool functions, the undo and redo function. Let's click on save, and let's set in the heading 1 font universally. So we're gonna close this. Let's go to customize. Let's click on the headings. Click on heading 1, and I'm gonna set in maybe 95 pixels, something like that, and make sure that is the Roboto font. And for the font weight, I might set in normal, maybe 500, a little bit bolder. I think that's pretty cool. Click on publish. Okay, so as you can see, while we're here, if you actually scroll down, you see that the header, it's a sticky header, and it turns white. All right, so since we've done this heading section, we're going to minimize it. So we're going to go to the sticky header wrap. And for the background color, I'm going to set it to the same color that I set in for the main header wrap, just like that. So if you scroll down, then it stays that same color. But what we're going to do is they're going to make it a little bit transparent, something like that. I think it just looks much nicer. Maybe 75% opacity. And then click on publish and close it. And I think the website looks pretty good at the moment. Okay, so it might be a little bit too dark, so you might want to change that button hover to a little bit lighter, but I think that's okay. I'll change that later. Now what I want to show you is I want to show you how to set in a transparent header. So we want to change the transparent header not for the entire website, because sometimes if you actually let's go to the blog page, you might not have a hero image for your blog page or your blog post. So what that means is if you don't have it, then if you have a white text, then you won't be able to see the links. All right, so what we do is change it for individual pages. So click on the edit page for the home page, scroll down and to Themify custom panel, page appearance, scroll down, And background type here, set it to transparent. You can also set the text color if you need to, and then click on update. So once you have done that, then you can go back to the home page. So click on view page, and that looks pretty good, except as you can see now, the links are not as visible. So if you actually go to Google Drive, and if you look at this image here, they sort of added a overlay gradient on top of that image, so to make the text here pop out a little bit more. So what we can actually do is do the same thing. So go back to your website, turn on the builder. So this is really useful because a lot of times you'll be adding text on top of images, and sometimes it's just not visible and you need to make it more visible. So click on the row options, click on styling, and then click on the row overlay. So if you actually set in a, if you set that into black and click it like that, set it down like that, then it changes the whole image. And because that image is really nice, you don't want to really ruin the whole entire image. You just want to change it to the top, like make it a little bit dark on the top. So to do that, you just set in a gradient. All right, so what we're going to do is drag this second button here, drag it to about 25%. All right, and then I'm going to drag the opacity down to 0, like that. Okay, so it's a little bit too dark there, so click on the first button thing, and then we want to drag that opacity down to maybe, let's say 50%, and then you can click on done. Save it, close it, and hopefully that makes it pop a little bit more. Okay, that looks really nice, and that makes the logo pop as well. So now what we're going to do is I'm also going to show you how to actually move the text. So for example, sometimes you might have your main subject here and you want to move it to the left. So to do that, just turn on the builder, and for example, for the options here, go to styling, fonts. You can just align it to the left like that. All right, and what you can actually do is you don't have to click on done. You can actually switch to this module straight away. So you actually just click on here, and that will switch directly, and it will automatically save. Styling, font, align it to the left. All right, and if we actually want to go back to the row, I think let's click on done first, and we want to add a little bit of spacing on the left. All right, so what we can do is go to row options, styling, padding, and maybe on the left hand side we want to add 5%, or maybe 10% or something like that. So that is how you can actually move it to the left hand side while having the subject on the right hand side. So you can play around with that, and then click on done. All right, so I'm going to actually undo that. All right, and then click on save. So what I want to do now is show you some other features of the builder really quickly, because I think it's really cool. So if you click on the 50% thing, that basically zooms out of your page, and what you can do when you do that is easily move elements around on your website. So sometimes you might need to drag certain things down to the bottom, and it's like kind of hard to drag because it's just so far and you need to scroll. So you need to set it to 50%, and it makes things smaller, easier to move. So you can also use the preview function that turns off the builder to see what it looks like. So it's a lot quicker than clicking on save and closing. This is basically the mobile responsive styling, which I'll show you later. This is the undo and redo, which is really cool. And you can also export this page as a zip file to import on another website which has Themify installed. You can also load and save layouts, which I'll be going through later. You can also duplicate the page. You can also click on help, which will take you to the Themify documentation. Okay, so that goes through like everything in detail, like each of the builder functions and things like that. All right, so if we go back to here, then what I want to show you is this function here. Click on save as revisions. So for example, if you finished the homepage hero image, type in hero, click on OK. So if you make a mistake, then you can actually click on here and load revision, and that will take you back to the settings that you have saved for this time frame here. Okay, it's not going to restore the header and logos and things like that. It's only going to restore the layout for the page. All right, so we're going to close that and save. And another cool function is the animation function. So if you double click on the module here, click on animation, and let's set in maybe a fade in animation. All right, so basically we're gonna set a 0 delay. Let's click on the next one here, animation. Let's set in a fade in as well. We're gonna set in a 0.5 delay, and also the button animation, fade in, 1 second delay. Done. Save it. Let's close it, and you can see how the animation comes in, and that looks really nice. Okay, so the next section is we're going to be building out the services section with the featured module, which is really cool as well. Let's turn on our builder again. Scroll down to the second row. What we're going to do is we're going to drop in a text module, and I'm going to type in what we do. So you can type in services or whatever you want. Highlight the text. We're going to set this one to the heading 2 tag, and we're going to go to styling, and we're going to go to fonts. We're going to align that text into the middle, just like that, and then click on done. Then what we need to do is maybe drop a featured module and drop it below that title. And for the featured title, I might put in free tutorials. Okay, and then for the content here, I'm gonna go grab some lorem ipsum. Maybe let's grab that one there, and then paste that in, just some random text. You can change the layout of it, and you can also change the circle thing. So I'm gonna delete that circle thing, delete the stroke, and delete the color as well. Scroll down, you can change the size. I'm gonna set it to medium, which looks good. And then for the icon here, you can click on insert icon, and the one that I'm going to look for is maybe a video player one. Okay, YouTube Play, I think that suits it well. For the color, I'm going to set it in as a gray, so a neutral color. Again, if you don't know what color to choose, go for a neutral color always. That ensures everything is nice and professional. Don't just choose any random color, because that will be kind of weird, even though that kind of looks good. But like, you know, if you pick a random color and then everything's random, then it's going to look all over the place. So best is to go neutral. So I'm going to go 4D, just like that. You can also link it. So for example, you might have another page which talks a little bit more in depth about free tutorials. You can put the link there, and when people click on it, it will link to that page. All right, and you can also select an image as well. You can upload your own icons. If you do like try to go to Google Images and find an icon, I recommend, you know, finding the same sort of set of icons. Otherwise, it's going to look really weird. Or you can go to Fiverr and get some professional ones done. All right. If you actually set in a link here, what I do want to point out is it's going to actually, let's say, copy that for a sec and pop that into there. And if we go to done and save it, close it, then you'll see that the link color changes to red. So we're going to turn that on. Again, double click on that, and you can go to styling and then go to link, and then you can change that color of the text back to maybe, I think 4D, something like that. Okay, so it's a little bit more subtle and it looks better. All right, so we're going to actually delete that link and then click on done. Okay, now what we're going to do is create 3 more. So hover over the featured module, and you can select this one with 3 columns. You can select 4 columns if you have 4 different ones. I only have 3, so we're going to select 3. And then we're going to duplicate it 2 times. So duplicate, and then drag it and then pop it over just like that. Okay, so all you need to do is to double click this one here, change the title. So let's say drag and drop builder. And then I might change the icon here to FAQ cubes because I already know what I want. And then click on done. Click on this one, change this one to maybe free support. So again, if you have any issues, you can email me at support@HOGANCHUA.com. And then we can scroll down here, FA users, click on done. And that is pretty much it. So what we need to do is add some spacing to the top here and the bottom. If you go to xero.com.au, look at the website and they have spacing everywhere. It makes things look really nice, clean and simple. Everything is laid out really nicely. So this is a really good website to take inspiration from when you're actually creating a layout as well. So we're going to go back here and go to the row options, styling, padding, deselect apply to all. We're going to add 5% to the top and 5% to the bottom. So that's normally what I add in. I think I might have added in the wrong one. Just let me check. Okay, so I put them into 2 different rows. So what I'm going to do is drag it below that and put it below there. Okay, so now that is all into one row. Before, I think it went into the 3rd row. So we're going to click on the row options, styling, and then we're going to go padding, deselect that, 5% here, 5% there. Click on done, save. Let's close it. And I think that is pretty good to go. So the only thing that we want to change is the H2 tag. I believe that is not the Roboto font that we want. So we can go to customize and then wait for that to load. Click on the headings tag. Heading 2 fonts. I want to change that to Roboto. Okay, so it keeps everything consistent. I'm going to change that to normal. I think that's pretty good. And publish and close. So the next part that I'm going to be showing you how to do is the gradients and also adding in that really cool particle effect. Gradients are really good to separate content, and it also adds this cool and fresh vibe to your website as well. And it's good to add on top of images if you want to make the text pop, or if you want to sort of keep that color scheme of your website and that image that you're using. If you add a gradient which is maybe similar to your main color, then it blends everything in really nicely. All right. Okay, so make sure to turn on your builder and then we're ready to add in our gradient. So this is the 3rd row. Scroll down and click on the options here and then click on styling. So if you click on the background here, you can add a gradient that way, or you can also add in a gradient using a row overlay. So the difference is if you actually set in the background gradient, then you can't add a background image and then have a gradient on top of that anymore. Okay, so if you want to sort of have an image as the background and then you want to have a gradient on top of that image, then you gotta set in the background type image here and then have the gradient here. Because we're going to be adding the particle effect later, we want to not add the row overlay, otherwise it's going to cover the particle effect. So we're going to set the background type to gradient for the background section. Alright, so when we're choosing the color of the gradient, I like to look at what colors we've actually used on the website. So you can pretty much eyeball the color, or you can download a tool which I think it's called Colorzilla, and it's also a Chrome extension, and then you can select it and then you can use it to pick color from the page. I think you have to turn off the builder first, and then you select the section of that image that you want, and then it'll show you the color. All right, so another really good resource is going to uigradients.com, and over here you can click on show all gradients. And let's say we have this image here, which is sort of like a greenish blue. Then you can go here and maybe you can click on the green and you can find a gradient which sort of matches with that color. Because if we actually select maybe like a red one, it doesn't really match with the color of this background and it's going to look kind of weird. So that is why we want to match the colors, and it's going to make your website look really good. So you can select this, and let's say you picked rainbow blue, and you can click the color code here, click it twice so it's copied, and then you can click on the first thing here and then paste in that color code just like that, and then go back to UI gradients, click in the second color code, double click it, and then click on the second one and paste that in. Okay, so it looks something like that. It doesn't look as good, so you can actually just adjust it a little bit. I actually know which color code I want to be using, so I'm going to type in 4CDB7C, and then this one here is going to be 38A8F2, something like that. And then I want to change the rotation, so to 125 degrees, and click on enter. And then what I want to do is add some spacing. So let's, for example, we want to add some padding. Let's add maybe 10% to the top and 10% to the bottom, something like that. I think that color is okay. I mean, you can tweak it a little bit. Let's maybe make it a little bit lighter or something like that. A little bit darker. Okay, I think that might look good. And you can also switch it around like that. Change it like that. You can also set in radial. Okay, I'm just going to keep it linear. I think that might be a little bit too green, so I might click on that, and let's make that a little bit less green. Okay, and then click on done. So what I'm going to show you now is how to add in a testimonial slider. So click on the plus icon and then look for testimonial slider and drop that in. So testimonials are important for your website to add in social proof. So if you don't have any testimonials, get some testimonials from your customers, because I think that's really important in people actually buying whatever you have to offer. So for the testimonial title, I'm actually going to delete that. For the content, I'm going to grab maybe some lorem ipsum and paste it into there. I might add in some quotation marks like that. And we're going to drop in an image. So click on Browse Library, Upload Files, select Files, and I have a image there, and you can add that in. So I'm going to click over here because I've already uploaded that, and the size that I've set it to be is about 300 times 338, so anywhere between that is fine, and that is about 41 kilobytes, so not really big. It won't take long to load. Insert file URL. Okay, so that image is probably a little bit too big. We're going to scroll down, and you can change the person's name, position, and whichever company, ABC and Co, something like that. You can also add in a company website. Because this is a testimonial slider, you can also add in an additional row, so you can add in another person's testimonial and things like that. I'm just going to delete that for now. Scrolling down, I want to change the image width to about 150. And you can probably just leave the height because it's going to scale down proportionally. And then you can play around with the slider display options here. Because it's a slider, you can change the speed and the effects and basically everything here, and then it will actually appear. So you can play around with those settings. So what I do want to change is going to styling, font, and changing the font color to white. Okay, so that looks not too bad. We're going to go back to the testimonial slider, and let's add in a testimonial title. So I'm going to set in amazing support, something like that. I think that looks pretty good. If you want to, you can also delete that if you want to, something like that. And then you can actually use this section here, John Smith, and then you can put it italic. I think that looks pretty good. John Smith, maybe he's from Canada. I think that looks pretty good actually. So we're going to click on done, and that is pretty good. So now we're going to show you is adding a particle effect. I know you probably don't you probably don't want to add it over here, but I'm going to show you how to do it in case, you want to learn how to do it. It's really easy and it's really cool. So what we want to do is go to Google and type in maybe Themify particle effect, click on enter, and click into the first result here. Alright, scroll down here, scroll down to this yellow section, copy everything here to your clipboard, copy that. Okay, we're going to save the builder and exit out of that first. And then we're going to hover over logo and click into the dashboard area. And then we're going to go Themify Ultra, Themify settings. Scroll down to the header code. And then we're going to paste in that code into the header code area. Okay, and then click on save. Once that is done, go back to visit site. Turn on the builder. Scroll down to this section here and then click on options. Now for the additional CSS class, what you want to do is we want to actually add particles -js. So I'm just going to copy this and then paste it into here, just like that. And then click on done. We're going to save it and close it, and hopefully that particle effect will show up after you refresh it. Okay, so I think that looks pretty cool. You might want to add it to your hero image if, for example, you might be like a tech company or something like that, and I think that's really useful to know. So the next part, I'm going to show you how to add in your blog posts and how to add in your featured blog posts on your homepage. So blog posts are really important because you're able to actually create free content that people are actively searching on Google. So for example, if you want to learn how to get a six-pack, like how to get a six-pack, thousands of people search this key phrase every single day. So if you're ranking on page 1, for example, if you click into this post here, thousands of people click into here to read this blog post. So that gets you traffic, and once you get traffic, then you can sell pretty much anything that you want. Like you can have affiliate links, you can get people to sign up to your newsletter, you can get people to buy whatever you have in your shop. Blogging is a really good way to actually build authority for your website, and it'll actually rank you for other keywords related for your website as well. So if you want to learn a little bit more about blogging, then I recommend going to Smart Blogger. And if you want to learn about SEO and traffic, you can go to neilpatel.com. You can scroll down here to the blog, and he has a lot of really good blog posts about generating traffic, conversions, social media, and things like that. And also a good one is backlinko.com, and you can click on the blog here as well. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to add that blog post in WordPress and add it onto your homepage. So to add a blog post, we need to hover over the section here, click on the dashboard, and then we're going to click on posts. Okay, so by default, you should see a hello world post. We're going to actually trash that. So trash that. And then I want to go into the trash and delete that permanently. So let's click on trash, delete permanently. And then we're going to add in a new post. So click on add new up here. So we're going to set in a blog post title. So for example, I might type in let go and chase your dreams. So this here is your text editor, and I'm going to paste in some lorem ipsum text. So let's just copy some of that. Control C and paste it into there just like that. Alright, so to add a link, it's really easy. So for example, you want to link it somewhere, this text, then highlight it and then click on this icon here. Okay, and then you can paste in the URL that you want to link it to. Normally I click on link options. For example, if I want to link it to lorem ipsum, I'll copy the URL, paste it into here. Because it's an external link, I'm going to link it to open up in a new tab. You can also link it to existing content on your website. Normally it shows up here, or you can search for it as well. So click on add link, And once you've done that, then that will create that link. So to add an image, it's really simple as well. You can click on add media, upload files, select files, and I've also got a blog post image that you can actually add in. So we're going to add in this one here, post image 1, open, and then insert that into the post. Okay, and to add a video, okay, so as you can see, that's not very high quality. I'm actually going to go back and edit that. And for that size, I'm going to select full size, update. Okay, that looks much better. So to add in a video, let's click enter and make some space. So for example, if you want to upload a video, just copy the URL and then go back here and paste it in just like that. So wait for about 1 second and it will load up, and that is all good. Alright, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to set in a category. So click on add new category. So for example, this might be lifestyle category or fashion category, anything like that. Okay, add new category, make sure that is selected, and tags. For example, this blog post might be talking about going to India, so your tag might be India. This might be talking about chasing your dreams, so one of them might be, you know, chasing dreams, and then click on add. So we're going to set in a featured image as well. So click on set featured image and click on upload files, select files. So we want to upload this featured image 1 and click on open. So the file size that I have cropped it to is about 1000 times 667 pixels, and the size is about 129 kilobytes. So I've basically cropped all my images on photo before uploading. That way it's a lot simpler and all the sizes are the same, so that, you know, whenever you're displaying it on your homepage, then it's all gonna align up properly. Okay, so if you click on this one as well, this one is also the same size. For your blog post, you don't really have to have, you know, the same size images, but around this size is pretty good. But for your featured image, I recommend having all of them the same size. Okay, and then set in featured image. And then I think that is pretty much it. You can also change the post option. So for example, the post layout for each specific blog post, or you can set that in the Themify settings default post layouts, which I'll show you in a sec. So once you've done that, click on publish, wait for that to actually update. So it actually will show up post published. Click on view post, and this is what your blog post actually looks like right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in another 2 posts, sorry, and then show you how to add it to display on your homepage. So you can also hover over new and then click on post. And right now I'm just going to quickly add it in. You can add in, you know, your own posts as well. All right. Okay, so that was my last blog post, and you can actually click on all posts to view that and to make sure that your posts have been set in. So what we're going to do now is go to our homepage. So we're going to visit our homepage, and we're going to turn on the builder, and then we're going to scroll down to this section here. We're going to drop in maybe a text module, and we're going to put in maybe our latest, set that to heading 1, or maybe not heading 1, heading 2, sorry, and go to styling, click on font, align it into the center, click on done. Then what we're going to do is drop in a post module, so drop that below the title, and then what you want to do is you can change the post layout. So what I'm going to do is, because I have 3 posts, I'm going to choose grid 3. So you can play around with the settings, but this is what I recommend for your homepage. So scrolling down, you can set it by specific categories and things like that. Post content, you can, you know, change it, you know, anything you like. Overlay, You can actually click on the preview and you can do something like that. Change it to Polaroid, click on the preview. That is pretty cool as well. Really depends on how you want to display it. What I'm going to do is just set it as default. As for the post filter, this is the post filter. I'm going to select no. And also for the post gutter is the spacing in between. I'm going to leave it as default. The number of posts I'm going to display as 3, limited. And then scroll down. So you can play around with each of the settings here. You can display excerpt, or you can display none, or you can also display all that content. Okay, so I'm just going to display like a little short summary. You can hide the images, change the sizes, hide the post date, hide the post meta, which is the author and the category and the tags and things like that. You can hide that if you want to. And I think that is pretty much it. All right, so if we go to styling here, so you have the option to style the module title, the post title, and everything like that. And yeah, so if we click on done, then I think that is pretty much it. So what we're going to do is add in some spacing on the top and add some spacing to the bottom. So click on padding, deselect that, 5% to the top, 5% to the bottom, click on done, and I think that looks pretty good. So we can save it and close it and see how that looks first. Scroll down. That looks pretty good. So let's say if we click into one of the blog posts, you can see that the link is actually red. What we're going to do is actually change the body link color right now. Okay, so we're going to go to customize. So the link color that we're going to be choosing is a blue. So blue is actually a really good color. You'll see it on most websites actually. It's really good because people are able to easily distinguish the blue color and the text around it, so they know it's a link. Most people actually don't know, but 8% of men are colorblind and 0.5% of women are colorblind, and the most common deficiency is red and green. So it makes it easily readable by people who are colorblind, and it just looks good anyway. But if you're, for example, your main color might be red, you can still use it, but if you can choose blue, then choose blue. So click on body here and click on body link. So the color code we're going to put in is 2DA0E3. Click on enter. Okay, so that changes. So what we're going to do now is change the body link hover. So I'm going to copy this color code here to my clipboard, go to 0 to 255, enter in a color, enter color, and I'm going to select maybe 2 shades darker. Okay, so it gives a slight effect. So if you look on Tesla, they go lighter because I think the red they've chosen is quite dark already. If it goes darker, then it's just too dark. So we're going to go blue, a darker blue, paste that in there. So when people hover over that, then it should go darker. I think that is pretty nice. You might want to go 3 shades. It's really up to you. So I might change that actually. Let's go 3 shades and then click on publish. Okay, and then close that. And let's go to our homepage, and I want to show you something as well. So people have been asking how to actually add a read more here. So to do that, you need to go to the dashboard and hover over Themify Ultra, Themify settings, go to default layouts, and then go to default archive post layout, scroll down to the more text, and you can click on display more link in the excerpt mode as well. So select that and you can type in maybe read more or more, whatever you want. Let's click on save. And hopefully if we visit our website here, it will actually show up just like that. And that is it. So what we're going to show you now is I'm going to show you how to do the dual parallax effect, which is really cool. You can just stand out from the competition. You can tell an interesting story or use it for whatever purpose you want. So for the dual parallax effect, we're going to have to get two images. The first image is for the foreground. So try to get maybe like a laptop or a book or something that you can easily cut out from. Okay, so with like sort of like a square, you don't want something like a mountain or something like that. Sometimes it's really hard to cut out, but you can, just takes a long time. Scrolling down, like maybe this one might be a really good one because you can easily cut it out. You might even choose a book or something like that. This one is also really good as well. So I've already chosen the foreground image, which is a laptop. And then what you need to do is go to pixlr.com, so pixlr.com, and then scroll down to the Pixlr editor. So it's very similar to Photoshop. It's free and it's online, so anyone can access it. Alright, so once you're here, then click on Open Image from Computer. So you should have downloaded a laptop image from your computer, but if you haven't, then I've included it in the actual folder. So click on Foreground to crop on Pixlr. Open that up. And what you'll need to do is we'll need to click on the lasso tool here. Okay, so if your image is not very zoomed in, then you probably want to zoom in a little bit more. So maybe let's go 30%, like that, and move it up. Okay, so it's a little bit easier to cut out or see. So click on the lasso tool and then click on the polygonal lasso tool. So what we're going to do is cut out the background image of the laptop. Okay, so we need to just point our cursor there and then click it one time, and then basically it will show that line, and then drag it across and then click it again and then let go, and then click it one more time, one more there, and then make sure to join it up exactly where it started. Okay, and then it should make that selection. So once you make that selection, then over on the right hand side here, you need to double click on the lock. Okay, so that unlocks the layer and it should show up as layer 0. Once that is showing up as layer 0, then you need to click on the delete button. Okay, so that deletes the background and it makes it transparent. So what we're going to do now is we need to change the image size because it's quite big and it's going to take a long time to load. So click on image size. The size that I'm going to change it to is about 1600 in width, and it automatically changed the height. So I'm just going to leave it as 1067 and then click on OK. Okay, so your image is ready to export. What we're going to do is click on File, Save, and we want to make sure to save it as the PNG format, which is the full quality. Okay, and then click on OK, and then save it as maybe laptop cropped. Okay, I've already saved it. I'm going to save it again. Okay, so once that is done, then look for an image for your background. So for example, you might use maybe, I don't know, maybe like something like a mountain, or you might use your face. It really depends on what you want to show and what story you want to tell. So download an image and save it onto your computer, and then you can go to photo, and then you can edit the size of it down to maybe 1600 by 900 or 1600 by 1000, something similar to the size that you have exported here. Okay, because you're going to be showing that background behind this laptop image here. All right, so if you're good at Photoshop, then what you can do is actually get that image, and this is the original image. Actually, I cut it out, the original image. The original image is, let's go back a little bit, is something like that. Basically, I cut it out, cropped it out, because I don't need this area here, because the area is actually covered by this section here, and we can make the image a smaller file size if we do that in Photoshop, and then we just paste it in like that. It's just white space here because it's not needed. And then you can save it, and then you can go back to your website now. So we're going to scroll down, we're going to insert the dual parallax here, turn on the builder. We need to click on the options, and then we might set in the full content width, go to styling, background, and we're going to set in the background image. So click on Browse Library and make sure to upload that file from your computer. So if you click on Select Files, I will have that flower file there for you to actually upload as well. So you can click on Open and Upload. I've already uploaded it before. So here it is, and this is the file size, about 1600 times 900 in height and 141 kilobytes. So not that big, which is really good. So insert file URL, and for the background mode, I'm going to select a parallax scrolling, and then what we're going to do is just hit on done. So now we're going to set in the foreground. So if you actually hover over here on the left, you'll see this styling paintbrush icon. So click on that. That is for the column styling. So you're able to set in a background for the column. So this is where we set in our laptop image. So click on background and then browse library. Upload that laptop you just cropped and saved. It has to be a PNG, and make sure that when you save here, it shows the checkered box. Okay, go back here and then insert file URL. Okay, so you can see that image there, that laptop slightly, but we need to stretch that image a little bit more. So the first thing you'll need to do is change it to full cover for the background mode, and then for the padding, we want to deselect that. We want to hit about 25% padding to the top, and we want to do the same for the bottom. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We're going to click on done. Alright, awesome. So what we're going to do is add a little bit of text and a button. So click on the plus icon, drag in a text module, try to put it in the middle like that. It should show up that blue line, and then drop it. Okay, so we're going to type in be different. So I'm going to show you how to arrange it, the text on the right hand side. I showed you before, but I'll show you again. So we're going to set that to heading 2, I believe. And then for the styling, what I'm going to do is we're going to click on the styling tab, font, we're going to align it to the right. For the padding, because I don't want it to be so close to the end of the screen, we want to set in maybe 5% padding to the right hand side, so it gives a little bit space. I think something like that looks good. And then we're going to get this button and duplicate it. So what we're going to do is hover over here, click on 50%, so it zooms out, so it's easy to move. So we've got that button there, and we're just going to click on it and drag it down to this bottom section. Drag it below be different. Alright, double click on that. And what we're going to do is actually change that color to our accent color. So it matches well with our background flower image. And also because the background is white, you don't want to leave it as a white background. So either go for a dark colored button background color or use your accent color. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually scroll back up and get that color code that we used here. So let's double click on that, and that will actually open up the typewriter module. Go to styling and then click on typewriter, click on background, and then what we need to do is click on that color code, okay, and then scroll back down to here, the button, and double click on that button. So it automatically saves the other module, so it's a lot quicker to sort of edit your website. So what we're going to do now is go to styling, button link, because we're editing the button link, and we're changing the background color. So we want to edit that from white to that fuchsia or that pink color. And the background hover, what we're going to do is we're going to go to 0 to 255. Okay, so you can enter a color here. So I've already entered it in, paste that in. Make sure to delete that hash. Okay, enter in the color, and then we're going to do maybe 2 shades darker, or you can go 2 shades lighter, but I think darker might be a better option. So click on that color code, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our website, paste that in. Alright, and then click on the link. We want to change that link color from that dark gray to a white. Change the color hover to white as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on the general tab, and we're going to arrange it to the right hand side as well. So text align to the right, padding, we're going to add 5% as well, which is the same. And then 5% to the right, click on done. think we can save it, and let's close it and then give that a little preview. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. You might want to reduce some spacing there. That's up to you, but I'll show you quickly. So turn on the builder, and I think what we're going to do is double click on that, styling, and then click on margin, and then deselect that, and then try to maybe put in -1%, or maybe let's go 2%. Okay, I think 2% is good. So the difference between margin and padding is, let me show you an example. So padding is inside the actual box. So if you see that invisible lined box, padding is inside that box. Okay, so margin is actually outside that box. So I've added the padding for the hero image, so that's the inside spacing. So what I actually do, if I want to change the outside padding, then I click on the options, styling, and then if I deselect that, and let's go maybe 20% to the top, okay, that edits the spacing for outside that invisible box. Okay, so that is the difference. So if you ever want to sort of reduce the spacing between like the text module and the other module, then you can use minus margin to the bottom or to the top. Okay, so we're going to click on save and close. The next section, I'm going to show you how to add in a video background, as well as using the video module, and showing you how to add in a gallery where you can actually showcase your work and things like that. Okay, so I noticed something while I was just scrolling down. So as you can see, there's white space here when you're scrolling down, and we don't want that. So we're going to quickly fix that before we move on. So turn on the builder, and then just click on the row options here. Go to styling, background. Make sure the background mode is set to parallax, but the background attachment, change that to fixed. Okay, so once you've done that, then you can click on done, and the white space will not appear anymore, and it still looks just as good, or if not better. Okay, save it and close it. So there's basically two ways of adding in a video. The first way is adding it as a video background. So you can go to the row options, styling, background, click on video, and then go to YouTube. Make sure to upload your video to YouTube first so it loads faster, because it loads on YouTube servers rather than your own. Paste in the URL here, and then click on the outside, and then it should show up. Okay, so make sure to disable the audio. You can also disable the looping, which is the replay, and make sure to set in a background image, because on mobile it doesn't display the video, it will display the background image that you upload through here. Alright, what you can do is add in some padding, like 20 to the top and 20% to the bottom, and then you could add in text, you could add in buttons and anything that you want to show here. So you can use it as a like sort of hero video for your homepage as well. Alright, so the other way is to use a video module. So what I'm going to do is click on done first, and then I'm going to delete that for now, and then drag in a video module and put it in there just like that. Okay, so all you need to do is paste in that same video URL and it will pop up. Okay, so if you click on done, you can actually arrange it in, two columns. You could have your video here, you could have some text here explaining what the video is about, or you can do sort of like a cinema effect. So I'm going to show you how to do that really quickly. So click on this one here to display it as just one column, and then we're going to click on options, styling, and then we're going to click on maybe padding. So we're going to set some padding first, some spacing, deselect that. We're going to do 5% to the top. This one we're going to do 3% to the bottom. Okay, once that is done, we're going to do a background color. So for example, we're going to go something dark. Let's try 222, something like that, or maybe a little bit lighter, really depends. So I might go 222 for now, and then click on row overlay, and then for the overlay hover, we're going to actually set in a darker color. So we're going to do it about just 100% black, just like that. Okay, so when you actually hover over it, it goes darker. So click on done, save it, and then close it. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down to the section with the video. So right now, when you're not hovering over it, it's sort of like a really dark gray, but when people hover over it to watch the video that you have here, then it goes dark around it. So it creates sort of like a cinema effect, which is cool. And another thing to note is if you upload your own video, you only have one video, then you should take into consideration the thumbnail that you're going to use for the video. So I picked this video because it has this greenish blue background, which blends in with the rest of my website, my gradient area, and also my hero image. Okay, so it's something to think about as well with your design. So we're going to turn on the builder, and then I'm going to show you quickly how to use the gallery module. So click on the plus icon, drop in a gallery module, pretty similar. So I think that automatically popped up, but if it didn't, then it shows this thing here. So we need to click on insert gallery and upload files, select files. I've also included 6 gallery images which you can actually upload, and I've cropped them beforehand on photo. So I've already uploaded them, okay, as you can see, and the size that I cropped it to is about 1000 times 666. So it's important that you crop them all to the same size so it aligns properly when you put it onto your home page. Alright, so we're going to select these 6 images and then add to gallery, update gallery, and then it should show up like that. Okay, so you can play around with the settings here, for example setting it to columns of 3. Okay, so you can play around with the image appearance as well, but I don't think that's necessary. So we're going to click on done, and you can add in a gallery title there if you want to with a text module. So we're going to delete that for now, and you can also add in image modules as well. So drop in an image module here, and you can upload your image, and then you can click on done, and then you can also arrange it into 3 different columns if you want to display your images like that. So the next thing that I'm going to show you is, I'm going to delete this first, is to show you how to make sure that everything is fully responsive on mobile devices. So as you can see, this text here doesn't look very good. Okay, if you scroll down to this section here, this text sort of overlays the laptop and is not as visible. So I'm going to show you how to actually fix that as well. So to edit the heading 1 text for mobile devices, we're going to click on customize. And then make sure you're at Themify options, click on the advanced tab, and then you can click on headings here. So on the bottom here, you actually got the styling for tablet for landscape, for the portrait, and also for mobile. So if you actually click on the heading 1 font now, it says 95. If you click on the tablet for landscape, then you can actually change it for each specific device size. So what I like to use for tablet is use 5 and set it to 5 EM. EM basically means it scales down proportional to the size, to the screen size. And then click on the tablet for portrait, and then I might set in 4 or 4.5. I think 4 looks okay. And then click on the mobile. I'm going to change this to about 3.5. I think that looks okay. Okay, so you can adjust it depending on what result you actually get. So we're going to scroll down here to the bottom. Okay, so actually on mobile devices, this thing is actually a lot closer to the screen. So we can actually change the heading 2 font here. But if we actually change the heading 2 font here, then for example, let's say we change it to 1.5 EM, or let's say 1 EM, okay, for mobile devices. What that changes is it also changes the heading 2 that we've been using for this section here, and we don't really want to do that because that would be too small and it needs to be a little bit bigger. So I'm not going to change that here at all. We're going to publish this first and close it. We're going to change it for that specific module itself. So we're going to turn on the builder, scroll right down to the bottom, double click it, go to styling. So this is the heading 2 tag. Go to styling, click on the heading, and we want to click on the mobile styling here. So it's gonna change that to that, and then click on heading 2 font, and then you want to change it to maybe 1.5 EM for the heading 2. So what that does, it's only editing for this specific module only. it's not going to edit the size that you see here. Okay, click on done. Let's save it and then give it a close. So once that is done, go to responsinator.com, put in your URL, click on go, and hopefully it looks a lot better. Okay, that looks pretty good. Scrolling down, that size stays the same. Scroll down to the bottom. Okay, so it made it a little bit smaller, and I think it looks pretty good right now. So what you want to do maybe is you want to, let's say you don't want to have this section here because, I don't know, you might have a huge block of text and you don't want people to scroll down to, scroll down to the very bottom. It's going to take a long time. Okay, so you might want to remove certain sections. So you can turn on the builder, and to do that, it's quite easy. Each row or each module has these 3 little dots, and you can hover over it and you can set the visibility. So you can hover over here, set the visibility. So let's say you want to remove this entire section. Click on visibility, and you can hide it on mobile and tablet as well if you want to, and then click on done. Okay, so on tablet it's not going to show up, on mobile it's going to not show up as well. Okay, for desktop it will show on desktop. So that is a way that you can play around with the layout of your pages. Okay, so click on done and click on save. The next section, I'm going to show you how to import layouts for your about page, because I don't want to show you, how to build everything. 80% of the things now. I'm just going to show you some really cool things. All right. Okay, so let's click on the about page. Turn on the builder. And then what we're going to do is hover over here, import from file. Click on OK. Select upload. And then browse to the about page to import .zip file. Okay, so this should be your images and plugin folder which you have downloaded earlier. Click on open. And that will essentially just load up the layout which I pre-created for you, and you can just edit the images. So for example, you can just click on the row options here, and go to styling, background, and upload, browse library, and upload your own image. Alright, so keep everything the same, click on done. You can double click on this section here to change the text. You can also double click on the image here to change your image, and double click this section to change your about me. Okay, so click on done, and if you actually double click the icon section, then you can actually put in your email. So instead of support@HOGANCHUA.com, put in your email, and as you can see, it has mail to and then the colon. So what that does is people can click on it, and then it will open up the default email browser with the actual email in the to send name thing. Okay, so we're going to scroll down. This one is call me. Okay, so TEL and then colon, and then I have the phone number there. So you can do that as well. So people click on it on maybe their mobile device, it will automatically put that number into their call screen. Same with the Facebook. You can change the label as well, and you can change your Facebook profile URL. Okay, so it's really simple. You can also change the colors of each of the icons, and then you can click on done. So one thing I want to show you is if you actually hover over here on the left, okay, so you can change the number of columns, but what you can do is actually change the column alignment. So right now it's the first option. If you click on the second option, notice what happens here. Okay, so it basically aligns the text and icons in the middle. Okay, so for example, if you change it to that, hold on, change it to that one, it'll move down. And then if you change it back to that one, it goes up. So we want to keep it in the middle. Okay, so that is pretty much it. If we actually save it, and you can play around with all the different types of modules here. We're going to close that and give that a little preview first. Okay, so as you can see, there's a little spacing up here to close that gap. Click on edit page, and then what you want to do is scroll down to Themify custom panel, page options tab, and for the content width, select full width. Click on update, and then click on view page. Okay, so that is done. So the next section, I'm actually going to show you how to import pre-created layouts which are created by Themify themselves. And this is also really cool as well, because I'll show you how to import pre-created rows which you can mix and match to create your own custom layout. So we're on the services page. We're going to click on turn on builder. And then what we're going to do is hover over here, this layout icon, and then we're going to click on load layout. Okay, so these are all pre-designed by Themify, and you can select one of these. I didn't want to show you how to just import a layout. I might make a quicker tutorial, maybe like a 30-minute or a 60-minute tutorial to show those of you who want to just, get a website up and running as quick as possible. But I think, learning the skills to do it is much more important, because if you actually just import a random layout, you won't really know what to do. So let's just take this for example, corporate page 2. And we're going to select it and click on append existing, and hopefully it will pop up. Okay, so it pops up like that, and you have your layout there. We're going to set it to 50% so you can see what's going on. So for each of the sections, you can just remove it if you don't need it. So for example, you don't need this part, just delete it, scroll back up and double click to edit the page. Okay, so really simple, pretty much the same as any other module that you have edited before. Click on done. And what else you can do is you can scroll down to the bottom here, hover over the row and click on the plus icon. You can also click on the rows here. Okay, click on that again. So what you can actually do is import different rows which are pre-created as well. So as you can see, you might want to import maybe this hero banner image, drop that into here, and then you can basically mix and match your different rows and create your layout like that. All right, so you can also access rows by clicking on rows on this section here as well. Okay, so that is really easy to do. Now the next part that I'm going to show you is we're going to edit the blog page. So we're about 15 minutes away from finishing, so hang in there. If you like the video so far, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It really helps me out to create more videos like this. Okay, so we're going to close on that, and then we're going to click on to the blog page. So I'm going to show you how to display your blog post and also a sidebar section. So we need to turn on the builder first, and we need to separate the columns into 2 columns, something like this. So select that one. And then what we want to do is drag in a post module, drop it into there. And for the post layout, I'm going to select the list post. All right, so scrolling down, we're going to disable the post filter. Normally there's a filter thing up here. I'm going to select no. And I'm going to limit to 5 posts. That really depends on you. And you can order it by date, descending or ascending, and other things here as well. And for the display, I normally like to display it as excerpt. And I think I keep everything else as default, but you can play around with the settings and everything here. Scrolling down here, normally there might be a page navigation thing. So for example, if you have 10 posts, and you've only set it to display 5 posts, then it might have the first page, and then you might have number 2, which is the second page. So I actually want to show that, so I can select no, so I don't want to hide it. Okay, and then you can go to styling. You can also edit each individual sort of elements of the blog post. For example, the post title, the post meta section here. You can also edit the post date, basically the fonts and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to leave everything as defaults and then click on done. The next thing I'm going to do is go over here and drop in the widgetize module into the right hand side. And for the widgetize area, we're going to select sidebar, click on done. So by default, it looks something like this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to actually edit the widget section right now. So I'm just going to click on save, and I'm going to close it right now. Okay, so let's hover over the dashboard icon and right click and open in a new tab. So that's going to open up your widget section, and you can actually go to appearance, widgets as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the meta, the archive, recent comments. So it's really simple. So click on here, the down arrow, delete it, archive, delete it, the meta, delete it. So these are the available widgets which you can drag in, and basically it will show up once you put it in. So let's take, for example, if we want to let's drag in an image widget. So you might have an image of yourself. You can add image. Let's say we add that one in, and then we can click on save. And we can also add a text widget. So I might add that maybe above that. Let's say about me. Hi, I'm Hogan, something like that. Click on save. You can also drop in the Themify social links below that. Okay, open link in a new window. Click and save, and then refresh your blog page, and then it should edit just like that. Okay, so it's really simple to configure your widgets using one of these things here. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to actually center everything, change the date, and show you how to center this section as well. So click on turn on builder. You can double click the post module, click on styling, font, and then you can click on text align to the center, and everything will go into the middle. Click on done, double click this section, styling, click on font, and align everything in the center. Done. So some people don't really like the appearance of that circle thing, so we're going to change it to an inline text. Let's save it and close it. Let's go back to our dashboard area and go to Themify Ultra, Themify settings. I'm going to close that page. Let's click on default layouts. So for the default archive post layout, scroll down to hide post date, and then display post date as inline text instead of that circle style. Same thing, scroll down to default single post, display as inline text. Save it. Now let's navigate back to our blog page. Scroll in like that, then it should show up something like that. Okay, so as you can see, that post date is not really centered. I'll show you how to fix that in a second. Let's click into here. Now this is your blog post, and I also want to change the link hover color. Okay, everything else looks okay. I'll show you how to edit the button color later on. So what we're going to do is we got to go to the customize section. And then what you can actually do is make sure to select the advanced options and then scroll to post. Okay, so this is the post date. So scroll down to post date. Let's align that into the center like that. This is the post title, hover. So let's close the post date first. Post title, hover. What I'm going to do is change it to the same blue. So we can actually click on body, click on the body link hover. This is the same blue that we've set in here. So I'm going to copy it straight from here to my clipboard and then paste it in. Okay, so that ensures everything is consistent. Paste it into the color section. Just like that. So when you hover over it, it should be blue. Okay, looking great. Click on publish. As you can see, the sidebar here is aligned into the left hand side. You can actually change that as well. So you can look for, I believe, sidebar. So you can click on sidebar font and you can set it to align into the center just like that. So close that and publish it. The next section that I'm going to show you is how to edit the contact page, add in a contact form, and as well as a map. So we're on the contact page and I've turned on the builder already. What we're going to do is set in a hero image first really quickly. We're going to go to options and then we're going to go full width content, styling, background, and background image. We're going to browse library, upload files, select files, and the image that we want to upload is the contact hero. Open that and then insert file URL. For the background mode, I'm going to select maybe just the full cover. And then for the background position, I'm going to leave it as is. The background attachment, I'm just going to set it as fixed maybe. Okay, and then what we're going to do is click on padding. Let's add some padding, so 15% to the top. 15 to the bottom as well. Okay, and then I'm going to add text in the middle. So we're going to click on done, and we're going to remove this spacing on the top first. So edit in backend. We're going to scroll down to the Themify custom panel, click on the page options. For the content width, select full width and update. Okay, once that has updated, we're going to go back to the contact form by clicking viewing page. Alright, so that is done. Now what we're going to do is turn on the builder again, and we're going to set in some text. So we're just going to drop in a text module, and I'm just going to put in contact, heading 1, go to styling, font, align it to the center first, and change the font color to white so it's more visible, and then click on done. Okay, so obviously you can add a sub headline as well, but I'm just going to leave it as that. So what we're going to do is on the second row, we're going to separate the columns into 2. So one side is for the contact form, the other is for the map. Okay, so if you actually scroll here, there is no contact form sort of module that you can drop in. So what we need to do is actually just save it first and close it. We need to go to our dashboard section. So click into your dashboard, and then make sure you have actually installed the plugin, which is the Contact Form 7 plugin. And then you can click on the contact here. So click on that. And then by default, they'll have contact form 1 set up already. So you want to click on edit. And then here you can click on the mail tab and make sure you've set in your email here. So for example, we're going to set in support@HOGANCHUA.com. So all the messages will be forwarded to this email here, right? And then we're going to click on the form here. You can also edit it as well. You can edit the text, and you can also click on the documentation and FAQ to learn how to actually configure it to whatever you need. But we're just going to leave it as that and click on save. Once that is done, then this is a shortcode. You can actually paste this shortcode anywhere on your page or your post or even the text widget, and the contact form will actually show up. So you don't need any code, you just need this short code. All right, so copy that to your clipboard, and we're going to head back to our contact page. Click on contact, and we're going to turn on the builder again. To add in that shortcode, we need to drop in a text module. So drop it into here, paste that in, and then within a few seconds, it will actually load up just like that. All right, you've got your contact form, nice and simple. Click on done. The next thing what we're going to do is add a map. So you can look for a map module here and drag it. So for example, I'm in Melbourne, Australia. You can type in your exact address as well. You can also set in the zoom. You can also set in the height. I might change the height to about 500 pixels, so it's a little bit bigger. So change that to 5. Okay, that looks pretty good. And you can also play around with the settings here. So we're going to click on done, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to click on save first and close it. And you'll notice that the map hasn't showed up yet, okay, because we need to actually add in the Google API, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And then we're going to come back and add some spacing up there and add some spacing down here and change the button color. So let's click on the dashboard. Then you want to click on hover over Themify Ultra, Themify settings, and then scroll down to Google Map and click on the Google Map. So for your Google Map key, you'll need to have a API here. So make sure to log into your Google or Gmail account first, and then once you just click on the generate API, then it will automatically log you into your Google developer account. Okay, so by default you should have one, and then what you're going to do is follow these steps. So go to the Google API console, wait for that to load, and then what we're going to do is maybe create a new project. Click on continue. That might take a little while. Okay, so once that is done, then you can click on what credentials I need. And basically here is your API. So you're gonna copy that API, and then all you need to do is click on done. So once you have that API, you can go back to the Themify Ultra here and paste it in. Let's click on save, and hopefully if we go back to visit our website, go back to our contact page, hopefully that map will actually show up. So click on contact, scroll down, and here is your map. So we're going to turn on the builder and style our page a little bit. Click on options. Let's click on the styling here, and let's add some padding to the top and bottom. 5% to the top, 5% to the bottom. And what we're going to do is click on done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to hover over here on the left, and then click on this middle one for the column alignment. So it's going to align the map with our form. That is pretty much it. Save it. Let's edit the button form color. So close it. And we need to go to our customize section. And then this is a contact form, so we can click on forms here. So click on forms. This is the form button. So you can click on the form button, and you can change the color of the background. So let's change it to a dark gray, which is our main color that we used for our website and also our header wrap area. Okay, so once that is set in, you can also set in the hover color. So the form button hover color, click on that, and you can go to the 0 to 255, enter in a color, 222, that one, enter in the color, and you can go 2 shades darker or 2 shades lighter. So I might go 2 shades darker perhaps for the background color, paste that in, and then that is pretty good to go. So we can click on publish. When you hover over that, it should go darker. Close it, and I think that looks pretty good and pretty good to go now. If we actually go to the blog and the blog post, you'll see that the comment section, the button will change as well. Okay, so it matches really nicely with the whole entire theme. Now what I want to show you is to just finish off the website. So as you can see, the footer, there's this sort of like slight border there around it. Doesn't look really nice, and there's also a slight border on the header as well. So I'm actually going to show you how to fix that. So go to customize, scroll down and click on custom CSS. So if you're a developer or you know CSS, you can add CSS here. So you can type in hash footer wrap, okay, and then you want to do the squiggly brackets. I'm not sure what those are called. So what you need to do is click on shift, and then you need to click on the square bracket, the left one, okay, and then you'll need to hit enter, and then we want to type in border and then colon none. Okay, if you actually scroll down, you'll see that border has been removed, and then what you want to do is semicolon, and then that is done. Okay, so for the header, you need to hash header wrap, and then the squiggly brackets, enter, border, colon, none, semicolon, and done. All right, and then click on publish, click on close. Okay, so that little border is removed. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, probably not, but for the footer, you can see that really clearly. It looks really nice and clean now. And that is pretty much it for the video. So thank you guys so much for following the video. If you like it and you found it helpful, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section down below. If it's more private, you can send it to support@HOGANCHUA.com.